This is the VoiceOver Marketing Podcast, episode 29.
T-minus 15, 14, 13, T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, we launch the main engine start,
Hello and welcome to this episode of the VoiceOver Marketing Podcast. My name is John Melly, and this is the podcast dedicated to teaching in-depth and advanced marketing strategies for people in the voiceover and audio production professions. My goal is to help you make more money by showing you ways to leverage your time, charge more for your talents, and allow you to spend more time doing the things you want to do in your life. Hey there, it's John. Welcome to this episode. Thanks for spending some time with me today. I do appreciate it. This is going to be a short episode, I promise you. I'm excited. I'm going on vacation. Candidly, I need to. And here's something for you. If you get time off, take it. You know, nobody was ever on their deathbed saying, gosh, I really wish I worked harder. It's good to work hard. It's good to put in an honest day's work for an honest day's pay, but you also need to rest and recharge the batteries, and that's what I'm about to do. And I've got a lot of stuff I want to share with you in a short amount of time. My birthday is coming up this week. Next week. My birthday is 2 days before Christmas. And when people find out that my birthday is December 23rd, a lot of people say, oh, wow, you must have got gypped. You know, this one's for your birthday and Christmas. Truth be told, my mom was looking out for me when I was a kid. The reason? She's a New Year's Day baby. So we have a lot crammed in the next 10 days in the Melly family. And so my birthday is the 23rd, then there's Christmas Eve, and then there's Christmas Day, and then there's some, hopefully some rest and relaxation. And then New Year's Eve, Ann and I are pretty chill. We go out to dinner, and then New Year's Day, it's my mom's birthday, and she believes that the Tournament of Roses parade is done in her honor. So you can't pull her away from the screen while the Rose Parade is on, because that's her parade. And then we, do the typical birthday thing for Ma. But last year, believe it or not, I think I mentioned this in one of the previous episodes, and I know I've mentioned it in a number of episodes. I'm a big fan of hawks. I love them for some reason. I don't know why. But last year, almost a year ago, my lovely bride Ann got me a gift certificate to a falconer. And that allows you to spend time with him and the birds. And they'll fly to your hand and land on a glove. And then they'll go out and hunt and all that kind of good stuff. And I'm going to go do that tomorrow. I'm recording this on Friday, the 19th of December, 2014, and I'm going to be doing it tomorrow, the 20th of December. I thought, you know what? I've got this gift certificate. I might as well take advantage of it. And so I'm doing it. So I'm going to take pictures and I'm going to share them with you on this podcast page once I've got them ready to go. They'll be after this episode is released. I'm going to get this done today and out there so you can listen to it and all that kind of good stuff. Make comments and tear it apart or say, John, this is great. I love it, because I have a really cool story for you that has to do with your rates. And it will put a whole new perspective on how you look at your rates and how you value your expertise. So stay tuned for that in a couple of minutes. But I want to share with you some really cool stuff, some housekeeping matters, but I'm really excited about them nonetheless. Can you tell I'm a little amped up? I'm going on vacation! I won't be here until the 29th of December. I'm going on for a full week. I'm really excited about this. And you get to benefit from this amped up energy that I have right now on a Friday afternoon, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and I have been up since 3:30 a.m. Eastern Time today, and I'm still cranking and rocking and rolling. And then I'm going to go home and collapse. I'm having fun, letting loose. So, what am I excited about? We've tripped a digit on the VoiceOver Marketing Podcast. We have gone over 20,000 downloads. We are now at, as of this recording, 20,253 downloads from all the episodes of the different episodes of the VoiceOver Marketing Podcast from 70, get this, 70 70 countries from around the world. Thank you very much. And people continue to join the Voice Over Marketing Podcast group on Facebook. If you're listening to this and you're not a member of the group, please do that. If you have friends in the voiceover and audio production communities and you get any value from these episodes, join, sign up, reach out to me. I approve each member. Candidly, I look to see if you are involved in voiceover in any way. I want the members of this group to be in or interested in the voiceover industry. So I look to see if you're in other groups involved in voiceover or theater or acting or performance in any way. And, I'm not interested in getting a lot of spammy comments, and I'm very wanting this to be a forum for people to exchange marketing ideas. So any ideas you have out there, please feel free to use the Voice Over Marketing Podcast group on Facebook to ask questions, send your comments, ask for specific topics that you want covered in this podcast. So that's what this is all there for. We've got friends of the podcast, past guests on the podcast, all contributing in that group, and that is always welcome. Feel free to reach out to friends. Join yourself if you haven't already, and that continues to go. And I greet each person with a quick message, and I ask you how you found the group and what you're looking to get out of it. So please do that if you haven't already. Let me dive into my story. And I was talking with my drum teacher yesterday, and I don't know what triggered this story. We were discussing something at the very end of my lesson, and whatever that topic was, it reminded me of a story that my dad told me many years ago. And it's got to do with rates and how other people perceive what you want to charge for your products, your services, your knowledge, and your experience. And this story has got nothing to do with voiceover, but it has everything to do with voiceover at the same time. And it has everything to do with anybody in a professional services industry, because that's what we're in. We're providing a professional service for businesses or people. And so the story is this. There was this guy who owned a manufacturing. He owned a factory, and he had this big piece of equipment that manufactured Duberfludges, whatever the heck that is. I'm making that up. He had this piece of manufacturing equipment, and it wasn't working right. It was making some loud clanging noise in it, and like bang, bang, bang when they turned it on. And they said, you know what, we better get the technician out here to come and take a look at the piece of equipment and get it fixed, because it's affecting our ability to produce, which means make an income. Keep that in mind. So they contact the service technician for this piece of equipment, and, it's the Kaframis Duffernator that they got to fix, because it manufactures Duberfludges. So they bring in the service technician. I've been up since 3:30 this morning. I'm a little punchy. And so the service technician comes in, turns on the Kaframis, and all you hear is this bang, 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 bang. And he says, oh, okay. So the service tech walks over to his toolbox, takes out a hammer, walks over to the machine, turns it on, and you hear this bang, 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 bang thing again. And then he takes the hammer and he goes, boom, onto the side of the Kaframis machine. And all of a sudden, the banging stops. The person who owns the factory is like, oh, that's great. Thanks. Thank you so much. What'd you do? Oh, well, this thing was out of alignment, yada, yada. And we just, put it back into place, and you should be good to go. Great. So the service tech goes over, pulls out his clipboard, and proceeds to write out the invoice. Tears it off, and he hands it to the owner of the factory, and the factory owner looks at it, and he says, $250? All you did was hit it with a hammer. And so the service technician says, all right, give it back. I'll rewrite up the invoice for you. So he takes back the invoice, and he writes up another one, and he makes it an itemized invoice, and he tears it off, and he hands it back to the factory owner. And the factory owner looks at it, and he reads it, and he sees that it's still $250, but it's itemized. And the first item is hammer tap, $15. The next item on the invoice was knowing where to tap the hammer, $235. So The point of this whole story is anybody can hit the machine with a hammer, but it may or may not necessarily be the most effective way to cure the problem. But if you happen to have the correct knowledge and know where to tap the machine with the hammer, you can fix it and get the factory owner back into production so that they can continue to produce and generate income. How does this tie into voiceover? I think you see it. A lot of people make comments in our industry of like, well, it's just reading, right? You're just reading the words off the page. And no, you're performing, you're acting. So when people start to give you pushback on your rates, they're not paying for the recording. They are. That's the $15 item on the invoice. The $235 item on your invoice is your experience. It's your talent. It's your knowledge. It's the body of work that you've had up to this point in every career, because if you've listened to previous episodes of this podcast, you'll understand and you'll know that I believe that your personal life journey, your story, everything that you've learned over the course of your life and your experience helps you in your current experience as a voice actor. And if you want to see that in action, you can go download my personal story, and you get a free copy of that. That's one of the free downloads. I mention it quite a bit in these podcast episodes, but it's a very popular download. If you have not downloaded it yet, please do it. It is totally free. I invite you to take a look at that. So it is your experience that you bring to your recording sessions. That is the value. That is the institutional knowledge, if you will, that you bring to your performance when performing a script for a client. And why does that client want you to voice that script? Well, obviously on some level they understand that it takes something because they're hiring you and not doing it themselves. And the other thing is that they see it's something of value that's going to help their business or move their project forward. You know, maybe somebody's having a personal project and they're hiring you to voice something for them. Whatever it is, they have an objective that they want to accomplish. They have a finished product that they want to have, and you are part of that process. You are a part of that construction process that is bringing that project to life. It is allowing them to produce. If you're voicing a commercial, it's going to allow them to sell products and services, just like a factory would. You're part of the manufacturing process, if you will. So I love that story. Hammer tap, $15. Knowing where to tap the hammer, $235. I actually have something similar in my invoices, and my accountant recommended that I do this for tax purposes. It actually makes a really good point. What he has me do is break out my voiceover recording session talent fee, and then he asks me to give a separate line item amount for the audio files. So let's say my recording session is $350. So $350, I might say $340 for the voiceover recording session, and then $10 for the audio file as the product. So the service is the $340, and then the finished product is $10. And that's done for tax reasons, and it may vary for your state, may not. It's kind of an interesting parallel to the story I just shared with you. You know, the file itself is only worth so much. I know what prompted this story. My drum teacher was handing me a sheet with rudiment exercises. It was called flam. A rudiment for percussion is a flam. It's a type of a drum stroke. And he has developed a series of exercises to improve your flams and the performance and your ability to execute that thing. And I think he had given me an extra copy of it once before, and then he was giving me another one this last night. And I said, oh, no, I think I've already got it. And he says, no, why don't you go ahead and take it, just in case you don't have it in the folder, you'll have it. He says, it's only a piece of paper. I said, well, yeah, it's only a piece of paper, but it's what's on the paper that matters. And he said, I'm glad you said that, because what he did was it took him a lot of time to think out how to write out these different rudiments and these drills and these exercises for you to be able to practice it in order to be able to execute the actual rudiment in a better way. So, yeah, it's an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, but what's on that sheet of paper, the content of what's on that sheet of paper is really what the value is, isn't it? Same thing for the hammer tap and knowing where to tap the hammer. Same thing on the voiceover audio file versus what's the performance within that audio file. So if you get pushback from people on a rate, you may want to share that story with them. Feel free to steal this story. Hammer tap, knowing where to tap the hammer. Two completely different things. And what it does, it helped get that manufacturer back up and running and able to produce and able to sell product. What are we doing? We're doing the same thing. We're creating a product for them that gets them up and running and marketing their products and services, or it's one more step in the process for this person realizing the completion of a project they're creating for whatever purpose it is. So you bring a lot of value to the table. That's my message for you today, is don't sell yourself short. You bring your life experience to your performance. I'm repeating myself, but it is so important to understand this concept because that will help you get out of the trap of lowering your rates and competing against everyone else. If we compete on rates, we're basically saying that our experience is the same as every other voiceover person's experience out there, and it's not. Your experience is unique to you, and that's what they hire you for. That's why we can't always compete on price. That's why we shouldn't compete on price. We should be competing on value and experience. And being able to market your unique experience, going back to that story, being able to use your personal story in your marketing to help differentiate you from the competition is what's going to help you carve a niche in the voiceover industry and the production industry and help you get the rates and achieve the lifestyle that you want to achieve. Great story, short episode. That's really what I got to share with you today. Whatever holiday that you're celebrating this time of year, I hope it's a fantastic time for you, your friends, and your family. I hope it's a time for you to rest and relax and recuperate and get charged up for next year. I've got a lot of great things planned for this podcast for next year. Got some neat events coming up. Also, I don't talk about it a lot except for the very end of the show, but in the outro portion of the show, but I've had a few people reaching out to me asking about a mastermind group. I talk about mastermind groups, people expressing interest in joining a mastermind group in the new year. I had one that wrapped up in November. And thinking about starting up another one again. I've got a handful of people who are interested in it. I would like to have at least 6 people interested in that because more minds makes it a better experience for everyone. Too many minds, and it gets a little unwieldy. So I'd like to have at least a half dozen people interested in a mastermind group, no more than a dozen. Because it does take a lot of time, and we want to give everybody a shot at participating in these groups. It's done via conference call or webinar, private webinar for the members of the group. That's what I've done in the past. It involves a group meetings on the phone, and then also one-on-one coaching time with me and some different things. If you're at all interested, let me know. Raise your hand. Shoot Mike an email at mike@johnmelly.com and let him know that you might be interested in exploring mastermind group opportunities in 2015. If there's enough interest, I'll do it. If there's not, I don't think I'll do it. But if there are enough people who are interested in doing it, then we'll do it, and then it'll just make it much more valuable for everybody. So do that. Like I said, I'm going to put a link in the show notes for you to download my personal story. It's free. Also, there's a PDF available of my performance notes. If you go back to episode 28, I talk a lot about the audition spotlight experience I had at That's Voiceover back in New York City in November, which was a wonderful experience. I have a script analysis where they gave me a script to perform live in front of an audience. I had taken performance notes and made squiggles and arrows and circles and lines and dashes and all that kind of stuff. And what I did was I went back and captioned all of them and told you what each of those items mean. I have that available for you as well. There will be a link for you to be able to download that on the show notes for this episode as well. And other cool downloads, access to Rob Siglampaglia's book, Voice Over Legal. If you don't have a copy of that yet, get it. I just used it again today for a conversation I had with a person who wanted me to do an impersonation of a celebrity in a commercial. And Rob talks about that specifically in his book. If you don't have his book, Voice Over Legal, get it. I have an affiliate code which will get you a $5 discount. Plus, it'll give a donation to the Voice Over Marketing Podcast. And then if you're just interested in helping out and being a good citizen, I have a donation button for the Voice Over Marketing Podcast. And you can feel free to do that. You can do a one-time donation or you can do a subscription, anywhere from $3 a month, anywhere up to I think $25 a month. Depends on what you want. And if you do a certain level, we've got some nice bonus gifts for you as well, if you want to do that too. Anyway, that's all I got for now. I'm going on vacation. I will see you in the new year with some more episodes. Thank you so much for listening. I really am having a lot of fun with this. I hope you're enjoying the episodes as well. If there's something in particular, reach out. Let me know what you want to hear, and I will try and put it all together for you. Take care and Happy New Year.
Our program originates in the Boston studios. We hope you'll join us again. Until then, we bid you au revoir, keep your chin up, and the best of luck.
Well, that's it for this episode of the Voice Over Marketing Podcast. If you like this podcast, please subscribe to it at voiceovermarketingpodcast.com so you'll get notices of new episodes, and please share it with your friends and colleagues in the voiceover world. Also, it would be a huge help if you'd like this podcast and rate it on iTunes to help keep it near the top of the list. Feel free to share your comments and questions about this episode and future topics you'd like discussed at voiceovermarketingpodcast.com. And if you'd like more information on one-on-one coaching with me and mastermind group opportunities where we focus on growing your business, feel free to drop me a line at my cyber assistant's email address at mike@johnmelly.com. Thanks for listening. Now go out there and share your voice with the world.